This is my review of a 2019 RPS Hawk 250. So you're thinking about getting a cheap Chinese dual sport. There's a few options to choose from. On the higher end of the spectrum, you have the Apollo DV36, which is a more dirt-oriented bike. More closely related is the TBR7, which has a few more features such as remote start, better plastics, and a bit better quality feel all around. But let's talk about the bike that we're actually reviewing today. Price. For around $1,500, you will get a bike that's around 90% assembled and registered if you live in a state like Texas. Now, the first thing you're going to need to do is bring that 90% assembled down to about 70%. Now, hear me out. This bike needs work right out of the box, and it's all pretty simple if you're at least a bit mechanically inclined. You need to go over every bolt and put a nice dab of Loctite on there. Your next step is going to be getting rid of that oil that looks like it might have come out of the kitchen cabinet. No joke, looks like vegetable oil. I run a 15W40 wet clutch oil. You can either use synthetic or conventional. I choose to use synthetic. Next is going to be that carb dialed in by changing the main jet and shimming the needle and adjusting the air-fill mixture screw. You'll need to order new main jets and also use a Dremel tool to cut grooves on the tamper-proof screws that they use on the stock carb. Don't worry, there's several videos on how to do this. I would recommend watching Moto Cheese videos. He goes pretty thorough into that. And the last thing before your bike is ready to rip is charge the battery. If you don't, it will undoubtedly meet its demise fairly quickly. Number one, the terrible gauge cluster. It's incredibly inaccurate at displaying your fuel level and speed. The cable on mine broke within about 100 miles. Not to worry though, there are aftermarket digital clusters that are very affordable, around $80. Number two, the vibration. This bike has a single cylinder engine with no counterbalance shaft, so it gets a little buzzy at higher speeds. And now onto the sweet goodness of owning the Hawk. Number one is the price. You will not commonly find a Japanese counterpart in used condition that is even serviceable for the price that you pay for a brand new Hawk 250. Number two is reliability. I have owned this bike for over a year, and trust me, I beat the heck out of it. Wide open throttle on highways for long periods of time, trails and hill climbs. The only mechanical issue I've ever had was the chain snapping at one of the links. Now I do change the oil often, as there is no filter. Number three, the fun factor. This bike is a bit difficult to own because it is a bit of high maintenance. But on the other hand, it's tough as far as the engine goes, and it's only got 2 wheels and will get you on the road, to the trails, and back home again. To me, that's worth every penny. So how is it on the trails? Let me start by saying that its suspension is not anything close to a full-blown dirt bike. It's way too soft to try and run it wide open through the whoops, but it really won't have the power to keep up with that anyways. It's very comfortable on the road and gets the job done off-road. If you hit bumps going a bit too fast, it will bottom out, but if you ride to the limits of the bike, you will still be smiling. The bike feels decently balanced, and the seat keeps wanting to pull you in when you should be standing. The power is very grunty down low, but falls on its face after around 6,500 RPM. It will growl its way up some pretty steep hills thanks to a super low first gear. So, how is it on the road? This bike is a dual sport after all. This bike should never go on a highway with a speed greater than 60 miles an hour. Although around town this bike really is perfect. Top speed with changing the sprockets is around 65. Stock will leave you fairly close to the rev limiter around these speeds. The gas mileage is average around 55 miles per gallon with a 2-ish gallon gas tank. The headlight is okay. Simple LED bulb swaps does wonders better than the stock, and it feels fairly stable at 60 miles an hour. So, conclusion. The Hawk 250 is not the fastest, best handling dual sport, but will eat up just about anything you sling in front of it, on or off the road. If you're looking for a good, affordable, almost turnkey bike and have a little common sense, go for it. I have loved mine and will keep loving it and adding on to the 8,000 miles I've put on it within a year. Thanks for watching.